Did you ever wonder what it takes to become an agent? But not any agent, secret agent or spy, intelligence operative. Before we dig deep into this topic, I'd like to share with you the true story about how recruitment into intelligence sector takes place. And that involves me, and this is my story, true story. My story doesn't revolve around Snow White and Seven Dwarves. To be precise, in 1996, after my father passed away, it was springtime, I was in a coffee shop for the coffee break with a colleague from my branch. And I was at stage working in military for many years. After 1800 consecutive combat days in the war, a stunning woman approached me and respectfully inquired if I was a Mario. Now checking her, let me tell you, I never saw more beautiful woman at that time. However, that coldness in her, it was giving me shivers. Now, I respond to her, advising her not to approach strangers in such a manner and inquiring about my name. On Monday, precisely 8 a.m., I received an envelope from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. 2 years later, I received full membership into Directorate 7 of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, precisely to work in foreign affairs, diplomatic, security, intelligence services. But let's travel back in time and explore how to become KGB secret agent. KGB, Komitet Государственной безопасности, which today is replaced by FSB, Federalna Služba bezopasnosti. Now, they are both same agency, just a different name. But first of all, let me welcome all of you to the podcast Life, the Battlefield. My name is Mario Bekes, and I'm Guinness World Record holder. I spent 1,800 consecutive combat days in a war, and as well, I'm the bestseller book author. That being said, I have a passion for podcasting, and in today's episode, I will share with you what it takes to become KGB agent and why you should listen to this, because I was educated in communist system and then later in democratic system, so-called. Once when you're intelligence agency, you are forever. And I'm saying to people, be careful what you wish for, because I wanted to experience the world of espionage. Today we're going to talk about KGB and who could potentially be a KGB agent, that agency. And what you're going to learn today is what steps it's necessary to become one. Becoming a spy in the all-powerful Soviet Secret Service was not an effortless task. The Soviet KGB actively sought out agents and workers, sometimes even without their will. Question you ask yourself, but who was employed by KGB? That's a good question. The KGB number one guaranteed benefits for its employees. Let me draw the parallel with this. Recently, I was in Berlin, and in Berlin, I spoke with people who used to work in the Stasi, German secret police. But not just the secret police, they were most successful foreign intelligence agency, Stasi, that's correct. And when I asked them what was the treatment between the people working in Stasi and ordinary Eastern German citizen, it was huge. It was a gap, like decades big gap. People who work in Stasi, they have access to better medical, they have access to technology, to different Western technologies as well, and other things which ordinary people in Eastern Germany could dream about. Same goes for KGB. So KGB guaranteed benefits for its employees. Benefits, which means not just the salary, but as well other benefits what ordinary people don't have. The Secret Service employed a large number of individuals from variety of backgrounds. Don't forget, ex-USSR has 29 republics under their thumb. So Moscow has 29 republics under their control. So now imagine from 29 republics, different origins, different cultures, different religions, different letters, all being pushed into direction to speak Russian, talk Russian, but as well they have a variety of reasons to employ people from those republics, and some people who are not welcome. The KGB is a very complex organization with multiple directorates, which with its own area of responsibility. Open positions and fill them with individuals who possessed the necessary profile or specialization. The USSR KGB was big and very sophisticated institution. It's not just control the internal politics, but as well external and as well the countries of the Warsaw Pact or Eastern Bloc. The first main intelligence directorate worked different substantially from territorial counterintelligence administration. I need to point you, there were numerous specialists, fighting groups and technology teams. There were also component of military counterintelligence department, border soldiers with their own secret service, and then Directorate of Special Communications. Needless to say that every country in the Warsaw Pact, that's mean the Hungary, the Eastern Germany, the Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, they all tried to replicate KGB. KGB was the big brother of all these intelligence organizations from all these Warsaw Pact countries. Can you imagine on what disposal of agents they have with different specialty, with different knowledge of the languages, different knowledge about languages, and the methods of how to operate in foreign countries was immense. KGB was a very sophisticated country. Very. The only thing it is, as I mentioned at the beginning, was that when I was in Berlin and I inquired about Stasi, and they told me the moment when the Berlin Wall fell down, Stasi was not powerless, but they lost a head. They didn't know what to do because a party was controlling. Same in Russia. I want you to remember, party was controlling those intelligence services. And once when the Berlin Wall fell down, Stasi was still continuing to work, but on different manner. When the Stasi stopped functioning was the moment when the people from the Berlin seized the offices and start securing the documents. It was the first modern intelligence agency being caught with hands on deck, and the operations were still running, so the Western allies, Western intelligence agencies could access informations. Now, when we talk about KGB, they have a special directorate of special communications. Party officials' security was the responsible of the 7th and 9th department. Therefore, the KGB provided employment opportunities for diverse range of individuals, as I mentioned. But the question you ask yourself, how they recruited? Well, simultaneously, a strong and very discreet institution viewed in unsolicited applications with suspicion. I always say to people this: you can apply for the police, they'll not see you suspicious. You can apply for the military, they'll not see you suspicious. But when you apply directly to the agency, any intelligence agency, like out of the blue, I want to work for you, well, hold on. It doesn't work that way. I always say to this with my story, I have been approached. I have been asked, am I Mario? This is the envelope. On Monday morning, 8 o'clock, you're going to be in capital city. I almost have the fight with that lady and her bodyguards or whoever they are. Now, KGB recruiters diligently searched for candidates. The colleges, the army, factories, and other places for potential candidates, and affiliated with the secret police. Their counterpart, Stasi in Germany, was doing differently. They realized that the true value to work in an intelligence or secret police, it is to recruit people from and within people who are already working in intelligence agency. For example, if your father was working for Stasi, they will ask, father, bring your son, bring your daughter, because they already knew it, how they operating. Recruitment officers watched and evaluated prospective applicants in their surroundings. Most of the time, future KGB officers were not aware that the Secret Service was considering them as a potential agents. They were not considered as a potential agents, which leads us to something that's called unintentional spies. KGB officers used a wide network of informants to accomplish their objectives. When you're watching today Hollywood movies, you can see the CIA agents using all these gadgets, all these puzzles, the choppers, the satellites, the assassins. You don't see these things about KGB because The imperative was to hide the work as much as possible, to deny their responsibility if something goes wrong. The KGB frequently persuaded or even coerced both foreigners and Soviets. The main targets for hiring KGB operatives stationed outside, particularly in Western nations, were those who had already attained a high positions or special role in their country, or those who may do so in the future. Now, when you listening today, many podcasters there who escaped the West from East, from KGB at age 5, 6, 7. It's all this BS, You don't escape. KGB was a very, very meticulous when they talk about recruiting people to work overseas. Most of KGB agents were they volunteered to go invest and say like, I have a secrets, I have a this and that, in order to mislead their counterparts. That can be CIA, MI5, whatever they are. According to the secret KGB handbook, that's correct, there's a secret KGB handbook. KGB agents concentrated their recruitment efforts mainly on organizations in charge of overseeing the nation's foreign policies, such as Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Cabinet of the Ministers, and political party leadership centers. For those who don't know, 1941, 22nd of June 1941, when Hitler invaded Nazi Germany, Russia, the biggest hit list for Germans were the commissars, then NKVD agents, NKVD officers, which they belong to the predecessor of KGB. KGB agents particularly sought out the people who were dissatisfied with their jobs or who already shared the Soviet Union declared objectives and guiding ideals. That's how we done in communism. You are targeting those ones who have this patriotic and national beliefs stronger than anybody else. My father, for example, was a president of the union. He had a communist, but he said, I'm going to be the union representative. I can get this, I can get that. It didn't work that way. But when you recruit people to work for something called KGB, something what works in foreign countries, you want to recruit, same as the Stasi, those people who believe in the cause and guiding ideals. Recruits found universities all over the world to be promising environment. They'll be useful to students as they advance in their careers. Soviet nationals frequently unintentionally become informants are the agents of the KGB. Class recruitment refers to a situation where individual is aware of their recruitment. That is when people like Vladimir Putin, he never hide his position in KGB. There's no reason, you knew by uniform they belong to KGB. But people always make this big fuss. There's the people who you see they work in KGB, their faces, and they're the people who you don't see. Informant are something different. That person frequently sign a statement of engagement under false identity. They instruct the person on basic or sophisticated encryption methods, including ciphers, linkage, and passwords. Agents who infiltrate terrorist organizations, drug cartels, gangs, etc. need to be extremely skilled. This is not a police job. This is about agent of intelligence service job. So need to be extremely skilled. There are the documents instance where the KGB enlists writers, painters, and athletes as a member of intelligentsia, so-called, to cover dissidents in their community. Who are the potential recruits? That is always and how you become a recruit. Every intelligence agency monitoring somebody or their name come across. In the USSR might then invite potential recruits found overseas for further processing. You know how many people, I remember in communism, they've been coming, I was in Yugoslavia, they come in Yugoslavia, everything's perfect. Of course it's perfect, it's staged. And that's what the people fall in love with, is that perfection, equality, and gray streets, gray buildings, gray parks. But people love this. So people come from overseas to visit communist country and they fall in love with what they see. And of course, intelligence agencies monitoring this, they see it and they approach you. Without relationship with the leaders of the national political and civil societies, Diplomats and journalists with a USSR accreditation could not advance in their careers. Do you understand that? If you want to advance, you need to work somehow for KGB. This lays the groundwork for building a relation with the foreigners, fostering their operational growth, and luring them to cooperate with intelligence. Money talks, BS walks. For those who think that no espionage, I want to highlight this. Espionage is a covert profession by nature. Therefore, if potential recruits goes to the Soviet Union with a delegation, he or she should never be the delegation leader. Never. Leaders are being spies. The delegation should also be large enough to give the target the greatest amount of anonymity possible. Moscow will come to the target if he is unable or she to come to Moscow. Now, an agent already stationed in the nation may be activated, or an operator will be dispatched to visit under the pretense of a study program or professional meeting. The process then produces a file known as the beginning study file. If the operation progresses to the next phase, then we open the operational development file. A number of operators from various KGB departments will oversee you or them. That's how it's done. Of course, working for KGB can be very lucrative for any intelligence agency, but that's a young man job. However, when you work for these agencies, it's becoming very lucrative to show off. You wanted to show off what do you do, how you do, and you want to people know something about you. He or she does something, we know it's connected to KGB or some other agency, but what you don't want to know, it's that comes the moment, expulsion from the KGB. That is the most brutal process. In any agency, when you've been expelled from intelligence agency, you know your life is over. You know if it didn't go on the good terms, your life will be the miserable, will be filled with the horrors. When I left my job, I need to sign some documents, and which they stating what I can say, what I can say, for how long, and what eventually is gonna go with me 6 feet under. But let's go talk now about expulsion from the KGB, which you can use on for the other agencies as well even today. The system doesn't change. The KGB appears to have selected informants and agents at random. Not true. The State Security Committee physically brought the candidates out. Exclusion resulted from a negative reputation and certain physical traits. Candidates who appeared unobtrusive were preferred. The prevalence of nervous twitches, eyesight and squinting difficulties, speech problems, protruding teeth, and obvious birthmarks among the other visible physical deformities has significantly decreased. So people with any problems will not consider. It was considered that such applicants could not consistently complete their task. Guys, I want you to understand, when you work for intelligence agency, you don't just have the normal medical exam. You have the psychological evaluation on the highest level. They try to foresee your future next 20 years based on your physical and mental attributes. Are you good for the office, or are you good for the field? Are you good to work in foreign countries or not? Additionally to KGB, they prohibited members of specific ethnic groups from working there. For example, KGB recruiters typically shunned Jews, Crimean Tatars, Karachais, Kalmyks, Chechens, English, Greeks, Germans, Koreans, and Finns. They didn't want them in their ranks because they viewed them as unreliable. In the USSR, racial discrimination was not a novel idea. But today, again, intelligence agencies is progressing and recruiting different type of people for different type of tasks, being an intentional spy, informant, or the fully pledged intelligence operative. KGB never stopped working. I want you to understand this one. It's just a change for FSB. I'm hoping you like it, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. That being said, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe and share. Thank you.